this is our first experience of the south coast. We've just gone on land to go and do some filming. We're now rejoining the team on the island, and I think, if I'm being completely honest, we've got 420 kilometers of this. So if you thought the north was bad, nah, I think the worst is yet to come. Let's go! Let's go!
What's the weather doing today, Ross?
It's pretty windy.
Sounds rough, Ollie. Do you have an umbrella?
Had one!
Where is it?
Inside out, 2 miles away!
Okay, guys, lots to unpack, lots to explain. So much has happened, so please bear with me. So where we're up to, we have successfully swum the west coast, the north coast and the east coast, but now we're staring down the barrel of the south coast, and we always knew this was going to be the worst one. There are no harbours for literally hundreds of miles, so no safe place of refuge at all. What's worse as well, all of the waves basically just pick up from the Atlantic, so they are just crushing into the south coast. Creates these reefs as well underneath that are basically just invisible even to the boat's radar. Terrible conditions, basically. We always knew this. Also as well, with that said, we actually went to Vic just the other day. We were filming on land. We got to see the Black Beaches, world-renowned, incredible to see. But on a very somber and sorry note, we also were actually there on the day that somebody actually lost their lives. It was a family that was swept out to sea. I believe it was a young girl that lost her life. And I think to know and see all of the statistics and all of the sort of stuff online, safety protocols, to actually be there in person and to see the waves, to see the helicopters overhead, to see the ambulances, it really brought home the severity of the situation and how you cannot take the south coast lightly. It was decided that I should reach out to WOWSA, so the World Open Water Swimming Association. They've been amazing. We explained how locals are saying we've actually got unseasonably high winds and high seas as well at the moment. So it's just this, basically the South Coast is this oceanic cocktail of just bad things. Basically, it's just a bad place to be. And further to that as well, we were speaking to Bob on the boat. He consults all sorts of journals and books, and there's a pilot book specifically that will tell you everything that you need for every coast of Iceland and certainly sort of Western Europe. When we came to the south coast of Iceland, we turned the page expecting to see this huge chapter. There wasn't a chapter. It was a single paragraph. It just essentially read, don't go there. It's inhospitable, terrible conditions. Do not hang around there. Get to a port as quickly as possible, as safely as possible. So with all of that said, reached out to WOWSA, World Open Water Swimming Association, and they said the following, which I've written down so I could quote directly, and they've been incredible throughout this entire swim. So a huge thanks to them. And they said, in expedition swims classified as assisted stage swims, WOWSA can allow for non-sequential leg completion, only if all of the following conditions are met. Each swim leg is fully documented with precise GPS start and stop coordinates. Observers verify that the swimmer returns to the exact prior finish point before completing the skipped leg. All swims are publicly mapped in order with timestamps and documentation. And finally, the deviation from the sequence is due to safety or environmental conditions, not to performance optimization. Which is why, with everything that I've just explained, we decided to attempt to do the South Coast in reverse. Reason being, we can use Vestmannaeyjar, where we are right now. You can see the huge cliffs behind us. This is a safe port. So essentially we can use this to bounce off and just swim out as long as possible. As soon as a storm comes, we run and we hide. And that's the method. We just repeat that. But we've always got this safe port of safe refuge that we can come back to. And in theory, and this is all theory, because I've realized just when you look at everything on paper, in Iceland, it doesn't matter. Like, Iceland just laughs at it. In practice, completely different story in reality. But in theory, this might give us a chance to safely do it. And an emphasis on the safety as well, because I think there's been many conditions that I'm okay to swim in. I basically just get beaten up and thrown around, but it's okay, you know, whereas the boat, it's getting back on the boat that's the issue. So, you know, if I'm sort of swimming in these 30, 40 knots of wind, huge swells, the ladder's crashing up and down, so I can't actually get onto the boat. I'm exhausted because I've been swimming for 12 hours. This is a bad place to be. Hypothermia seeping into your suit. Even if I then manage to get back on the boat in whatever condition I do, we've then got hundreds of miles to actually get to a harbour, never mind a hospital called medical assistance. So we don't know if it's going to work, but this is the strategy. South coast in reverse.
Okay guys, I owe you an update because a lot has happened in not much time. So basically, arrived down the East Coast completed looking at the South Coast, and bad weather came in, huge storm, we're just getting absolutely smashed. We had filming to do back on land with Channel 4, met with a glacial expert, that was amazing. Did some BMW shooting, that was brilliant. Back on land, we decided to go back on land while the crew, absolute heroes, just gunned the boat all the way down to Vestmannaeyjar and parked up. When we were back on land, Ollie then said, look, we have to go to this place, it's called School Beans. It's where the owner, Holly, she's converted this amazing like American bus into this coffee shop, cafe, does amazing bagels, the hot chocolate, oh my God. And then also as well the coffee. So we ended up there, we got chatting to Holly. She was an absolute hero, realised how bad the weather was going to be, and we're then ultimately stranded. Also, there was a huge festival going on at the same time. So all the Airbnbs, all the hotels, everywhere was completely booked up. Me, Ollie and Luke looked at each other. We were honestly just about to camp on the side of the road. We were like, this is it. We're in so much trouble here. I was literally eyeing up a bush thinking, would that be a good bed? Holly then speaks to Johannes, her boyfriend, absolute hero, and just went, look, there's 3 guys, they're trying to swim around Iceland, they need a place to stay. So they ended up like just kind of adopting us like stray dogs. We ended up going back to there, Ollie's on the floor, Luke's on the floor, I got the bed, and we nailed a load of pizza, waited basically for the ferry, which wasn't running, to then start running again and sea to be safe, to then join the boat back on Vestmannaeyjar, this island from the mainland as well. So it was quite the adventure. Now all of a sudden, back on Vestmannaeyjar, literally within the first 36 hours, we detailed the new plan, which was to do the South Coast in reverse. Seemed like a really, really good plan at the time. We make it 36 hours to the swim. Storm just blows up and we just end up sprinting right back to Vestmannaeyjar. So where we're up to right now, is, as I laid out with the Wowser rules, the new safety protocol is basically using Vestmannaeyjar here. We swim as much as possible, as often as possible, and when a storm comes in, we just hide. If you want to take a peek at this map here, south coast, not good. Not a place that you really want to hang out. And all of this is just getting smashed by winds just coming from the Atlantic. So we're here in Vestmannaeyjar. We swim. As soon as a storm comes in, because there's no, literally from 200 kilometers, there's not a single harbour, there's no port, there's nowhere to shelter. It's just a beach, a really flat beach that just gets smashed by all of these winds. So we swim as much as we can. As soon as the storm comes in, we run and we hide. And we repeat that until we eventually try to get all the way across. I actually found the book as well. So this is what Bob was talking about, Captain Bob. And this is for all pilots that want to go around Iceland or any of the Arctic waters. And there's an entire chapter on the north, on the west, on the east, and there's just one paragraph right here when it comes to the south coast. Let me read it to you. It doesn't fill me with confidence. So, the south coast is inhospitable, shallow, and dangerous. There is a set onto the coast, and in bad weather, tidal streams are strong and irregular. In saga times, this coast was settled and farmed, but cataclysmic eruptions in the 17th century covered the coastal strip with lava which poured into the sea. The resulting reefs are low-lying, invisible to the radar, and often to the eye, especially in fog. There is no shelter at all on this coast, and the navigator is advised to give it a wide berth. This is what we are going to attempt to swim. All the way down here for 200 kilometers while getting smashed by storms. What could go wrong?
Hey folks, it's me again. I just wanted to wrap this one up because Ross is sound asleep. I wanted to let you know where we're all at, what's happening, and what's going to be going on going into next week. So I've just had to fold the laptop down for the minute because our power's gone out. We've completely lost our generator. The power banks are all dead, and this is just part of the challenges of working on a boat that's kind of not really designed for having a media team on board doing this kind of a slow expedition. This thing is designed to race across oceans and race around the world. And so yeah, we're giving it all sorts of peculiar issues with what we're trying to do with it. We're getting on up the coast fairly well now, as per the new sort of tactics that we're using to try and keep things safe. It's all been relatively good so far. We've had to escape once back to Vestmannaeyjar, but now we're almost in the proper no man's land halfway, where it's an incredibly long way to get back to either Vestmannaeyjar or Höp, which is sort of either of our two ports from here, in this most remote stretch of coast. So even though we're only bobbing about 3 miles off the actual coast of Iceland, you can sort of see it probably behind me a little bit, yeah, we can't get onto land at all here. We are surprisingly isolated. We're having a little bit of R&R time. Just briefly, whilst Bob and Mike try and fix the generator downstairs. Luke and I have got haircuts to do because there's still enough time for our hair to grow back before we reach civilization, so that our friends and family don't disown us when we reappear after this. Joe is downstairs cooking us a lovely pasta bakey thing for dinner. Everyone else is having a bit of a nap. Ross is next on at 9 o'clock. In a few hours out swimming. That's when we think the next sort of window for conditions is good. And yeah, it's all changing quite a lot down here. The ocean's gotten really green, where all the sediment from the big beautiful glacial rivers has started running into it, and we're in this sort of churny bit where the sea is not super deep, it's not super shallow, but it's definitely got all of this sediment in it from all the glaciers and stuff. So every single environment, every corner we turn when we're out here, it just seems to be just completely different with a whole new set of challenges. And out here, as well as dealing with the weather and the prevailing weather and the remoteness and stuff, we're dealing with all sorts of weird currents and tides swirling around all over the place. And so Ross is having to absolutely swim like a madman to try and sort of get any ground at all on it. It's incredibly hard going, and he'll never admit it himself, but yeah, he is incredibly tough that he just gets in and just keeps on trucking. Next week I'm going to come back to doing a little bit more day in the life, and because things have changed so much now, I should have some quite interesting stuff for you guys, I think, on sort of what we're doing with feeds and things now, what we're doing with our swimming strategies now in terms of timings, because they've changed since last time we covered them a few videos ago. And yeah, you'll just follow us as we start making our way up the coast further and further, getting on back up to Höp, and hopefully we make it. And then our next decision is sailing back down the coast of Vestmannaeyjar, joining the dots, and seeing where we go from there. All right, I'll see you guys next week.